Hey guys, so I'm here in my room tonight to do the second um, diary entry, and uh, holy shit, the response to the first one has just been so overwhelming, and thank you everybody who's reached out, um, either to just show your support or to, say, hey, I'm going through the same thing, um, let's be sober buddies. Um, so it means a lot. It does. Now, I'm going to tell you guys a little antidote, and then we're going to kind of talk about what I want to talk about today. So, right here, I have in this bowl, I know it doesn't look like much to you guys, but it's rice pudding. It's homemade rice pudding, which I made today, and so good. So good. Um, so, the reason why I made rice pudding today was A, I fucking love rice pudding. Um, but whenever I was younger, my sister and I used to stay with my great grandmother Mary. Every time we spent the night, there'd be a big pot of rice pudding that was either just come out of the oven or was ready for us before we even got there. And it was like those memories make you feel good, right? And my grandmother would make it for us. And um, before my grandma died, I asked for the recipe, like, how do you make rice pudding? She's like, oh, it's so easy. You do this, this, and this, and this. I was like, can't you just write it down for me? And of course, because, they never write recipes down, which turns out it's super easy. um, so today was kind of well, it wasn't a rough day. It was my first full day of work, and first full day that I've worked since, quarantine. Um, and I got a little tired towards the end of the day, but that's just more me and my body still healing, and I keep trying to push it to do, as much as it can. So I'm definitely listening to my body. I'm gonna kind of chill tonight. I'm off tomorrow, so I'm gonna relax. But so what happened today was I was supposed to go on a date, and they sort of flaked with a bullshit answer, which it probably wasn't a bullshit answer. They probably were super busy today at work and just didn't realize what their day was going to entail. But those feelings of rejection came back, and I texted a few people I could think of to see if maybe they had dinner plans, and of course, everybody's busy. And so I was ready to break, because who's not busy is that party world, because it never stops. But I didn't. Instead, I said to myself, I want rice pudding. Rice pudding's going to make me feel better right now. And so I have the rice pudding. That's why I'm doing this vlog. So in those moments of weakness, just think of what else could make you happy. I guess that would be my advice, is to, remember, like, maybe a bike ride makes you happy. Maybe going on a walk makes you happy. Maybe going to get ice cream during your walk or your bike ride. Just do something else that's going to make you happy, because you're going to really, 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 A, respect yourself for doing that, and B, be proud of yourself for not giving into that weakness. So, that sweet little antidote I told you, and all this, what I want to talk about today is, I'm sure a lot of people who've watched the video are probably questioning how I got into this world. For those who knew me before, I was very nerdy. I was a theater nerd. I was a nerd. I loved to learn. I loved being in school. I loved being in undergrad and grad school. High school was rough, so I guess that's probably a good place for us to start the story. Nobody wakes up one day and says, I think I'm going to be a drug addict. You'd have to be pretty bored to do that, because it's a pretty awful world to live in. And I never really knew myself. I never really respected myself, and I never really appreciated myself. Um, I always have had body issues from as long as I can remember. I mean, gosh, I remember being in 8th grade, and this girl came up to me and said, "You would be so much cuter if you didn't have acne. Once your acne's gone, you're going to be really attractive." Well, here we are at 33, and she's still got acne. But you know what? It's part of who I am now. I notice it. A lot of people don't notice it, but I still see it, and that's fine. It's what makes me me at this point, you know. Um, but then there's my size. My size has always gone. My weight has fluctuated up and down, and I remember coming home from college once, and my dad jokingly, he didn't know what he was doing, you know, was like, "Oh my God, how much weight are you gonna gain up there?" And at my heaviest, I was 270 pounds. That's when I graduated from college. Last week I was weighed at the doctor, and I'm 162. So, yes, I do look emaciated, and yes, I do look thin, but I've literally killed myself to look like this, and I'm starting to appreciate my body more now. I guess I'm not holding myself to standards that don't exist anymore. Just put it that way. I am who I am. I'm gonna look the way I look, and as long as I look happy and healthy, that's all that matters. That being aside, my weight played into a huge part of my drug use. I never felt good enough. I never felt worthy of anybody's affection, of anybody's praise. Before all of this, I used to direct musicals. I've directed for the Greenville Area Community Theater a few shows. I directed for a group in Sharon, PA. And I directed my own award-winning play, The Principal. And through all of that, I never saw those things as accomplishments. The first show I ever directed for GACT was Steel Magnolias, one of my favorite shows, and I connected with it so close because that was sort of like the beginning of my depression, of my darkness. And I tried to use humor to get out of it, but I just couldn't, you know. And during this time, I started grad school, and I'm sorry, I had not started grad school yet. But during this time, I really stuck to the idea that every good comedy has drama in it, and every drama has really good comedy in it. And so I was just trying to find my comedic moments to help me get through the dramatic ones. And sometimes it wasn't that easy. This is about the time my panic attack started. I'd never had one before. Thought I was having a heart attack. It's the same time that my ex-husband, after one of the shows, somebody was congratulating me and telling me what a great job I did. And he said, "Oh, don't fill his head with all that. He's already got a big ego." And then I started thinking to myself, "Oh my God, is that how people see me? Like, am I not allowed to be proud of what I did, what I accomplished?" And so then I started retreating into myself with that because I never wanted it to come off as ungrateful. And then I directed Little Women, the musical, which was, again, another very powerful, uplifting musical, and my panic attacks got worse during this. To the point where I started convulsing or twitching like I was having a stroke almost. And then I directed another show. It was a cute little review show. And then finally, I got to do The Wizard of Oz, which is my dream. But it was shortly after Oz that I began using. And so here's a funny little the more you know moment. I have been doing drugs for the last almost 5 years. And that's what a lot of people don't know. I was first introduced to meth because I didn't know what it was. Somebody's like, have you ever done Tina before? And I'm like, sure. It's like Molly or like, one of those really kitschy gay designer drugs. I had no idea that Tina was meth. And of course I liked it. I mean, here's a tip out there. If you've never done meth before, don't do it because it's going to be fucking awesome. And this came after a review I got from, I'm not going to say names or what theater she works for, but it's here in Pittsburgh. My final thesis for grad school, I had written a play about an abused woman in the Appalachian area. And the review was just so bad. Like, it's so bad to the point where it's like, I felt like she was telling me maybe you should choose a different career than being a writer. And, oh my god, and to top it off, there was only a few people coming to the actual performance, and not a single one of them was my family. And that's why I did this. That's why I became a writer, was because everybody said I should write. And so I, at this point in my depression, was at the destruct. Anything destructive I could think of I was doing. And I did it that night, I did G for the first time, I did Tina, meth, and I had unprotected sex with, I don't know how many men were at that party. But I wanted to destroy it. I wanted to destroy myself. I wanted to destroy everything. Cut to a couple months later, and this is something I regret to this very day, is I convinced my ex-husband to try it. And then Pandora's box was opened. And then became years of lying and cheating and just being awful to one another. And at the same time destroying ourselves, I moved to Pittsburgh with all this hope that I would be the next great American writer, playwright. And I stuck to it, and I did the Fringe Festival, and I won Best Writing, and I haven't written since then. That used to bring me so much fulfillment and so much joy to write these characters and these stories, and the drug became more important. Everything became about the drugs. Miley Cyrus has that song Dream, drugs rule everything around me, and it did. And I didn't see it. And, everybody else sees it. Your friends see it, your family sees it, but you're so convinced that you have everything under control. And that nobody's ever going to find out. And then you lose your job. And you blame it on your boss or your coworker or HR. Somebody did this and somebody did that, and who's lying, and why would they let me go like this, and blah blah blah. And why. It's because you've become an unreliable addict. But you lie to yourself. You believe your lies, nobody else believes them, trust me. Nobody else believes them. And so then I, got a reputation here in Pittsburgh as somebody who could get things for people, or somebody you can sleep with for drugs, because I always had them. Or I got labeled a slut, or bitch, or a user, or a backstabber, or a liar. I became somebody that nobody trusted anymore. And most of all, me, I didn't trust myself. Not trusting yourself is the hardest part about all this, because in everything I've done, I've always had a part of my brain that stayed sober and said, what the fuck are you doing? You know, you would think falling asleep at the wheel and almost fucking colliding into an 18-wheeler would wake you up. Mm-mm. I've had so many close calls, and yet I wasn't trusting myself that I could get through being sober. I didn't even trust myself enough to take care of me financially. Like, I couldn't even feed myself. I relied on everybody else to help me with my problem. And it takes you realizing that nobody's gonna help you be you but yourself. I mean, I know it sounds so easy, it sounds so dumb at the same time, but I'm finally at a place that I trust myself to take care of me. I trust that if I'm hurting financially, that I will be able to find a way to make it work. I trust myself enough to say, let's go to the doctor. There's something wrong. I trust myself enough to say, you don't need drugs tonight. You need rice pudding. So that's what it comes down to, is you have to trust yourself to take care of yourself. Because if you can't do that, then nothing else will ever work out. Those dates will always keep canceling. Those exes will always be in the back of your mind trying to tell you that you're not good enough. It's going to take you believing that you are good enough. Believing that you are worthy for yourself, which means you are worthy for somebody else out there. Not just anybody. You know, to quote Sondheim, you can't just want somebody. You have to want somebody. And somebody has to be you. No, sobriety isn't easy. And today on day 16, on day 16, I was ready to crack. And I'm being honest with all of you. Because that's what we need. We need honesty right now. I'm not here to make myself look fantastic on YouTube, because I've already done the shit that could embarrass nuns. Like, I could take out a whole convent if I told them everything I've ever done. And like, there are people out there who know what I've done. So why pretend anymore? I'm not here to pretend and to give you bullshit. I'm here just to help. But remember, I'm also human. I might fuck up. I don't want to fuck up. And I'm going to try really, really hard not to. And I'm just saying, trust yourself. I trust myself enough to know and to believe that I'm not going to let myself fuck up. So trust yourself in believing that you can do this, because you can. We all can. We all have to. Every single one of us has a reason to live and a reason to be here. And life's too short to let something like fucking drugs ruin it. Because a lot of us know how short that life can be. I'm going to leave you with one last story about trusting yourself and taking care of yourself. So what a lot of people don't know is that I have tried heroin one time. And that time I overdosed. Like, I was dead. I don't remember anything. I remember the needle, and then I don't remember anything but waking up sweating profusely and very fucking confused. It took 2 Narcans to bring me back. And I did that because I didn't trust myself when I told myself to say no. I wanted to fit in. I so badly wanted somebody or something to desire me. For me. That I was willing to put that shit in my body. Never again. Never again. I got home and I was still confused and disoriented and had no idea what had happened. And I just laid here and cried. Because I didn't want to feel that desperate ever again. I didn't want to feel that alone ever again. And I didn't want to feel that stress or pain ever again. So, stay strong. Stay happy. Stay healthy. And trust yourself. Trust yourself to take care of yourself because only you can change the course of your life right now. So on that note, make some rice pudding, put something on TV, put on some comfy clothes, and enjoy these sober moments because they are going to be what gets you to the finish line. Oh, that's kind of sad. I guess the finish line would be like death, huh? But like many years from now to the finish line, like many healthy many healthy sober years from now. Alright guys, I'll talk to you later on the next installment of Diary of a Former Party Boy.